Hello, hello, and welcome to GarageBand for the iPad with David Z. I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to making some really delicious music in the kitchen. I like to compare making music to cooking or, yeah, being a chef. So you're adding a lot of ingredients together, trying to figure out what works the best, what comes out the tastiest. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a very hands-on, very interactive class. We're going to overview the entire software, and then we're going to learn a little bit of music production techniques, and then we're going to be trying to make our own music and seeing what tastes good, seeing what comes out groovy. And it's going to be done through a variety of different projects that I include, including a final project at the end of the end of the session. So I look forward to this demo, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you. So the first thing I'm going to do here is open up GarageBand. It's the icon that looks like the guitar. And these are a collection of the songs that I've made. All right. And what I'm going to do here is I am going to create a song. Okay. So let's go ahead and create a song. Now, what it will bring you to here is known as basically your instruments list. So you got a lot of different options here. You can slide around. You have bass, guitar, strings, audio recorder, an amp if you wanted to plug this into your electric guitar and have different amps. Different kinds of drums you can have, keyboard with synth, sampler, and a smart piano. Different sound packs you can download. This is external audio, something we'll get into a little bit later in the course. Something called Interapp Audio and something called Audio Unit Extensions. This is drummer. This is a different kind of drum machine that we'll get into in just a bit here. And there's also some world instruments, some virtual instruments, guitar. Okay, you get it. So basically there are three main components of any good song, any good beat that you're going to make. Okay, so the three main components are: number one, a melody line. Okay, you're going to need a melody line, which is a synth or a lead or a guitar or horns or something that's providing some kind of melody. And we'll go into what that means a little bit later. Next is a drum or percussion track. And you would actually want to do that first, probably, depending on how you work. Okay, so a drum or percussion track is something with a good beat to it. Okay, it's a good rhythm. And then the third thing that you're going to need is a bass track, a bass line. Okay, so there's a few ways you can do that, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So the three components again are melody, percussion, drums, and bass line. And then you could add vocals on top or whatever other kind of effects you might want to add as well. So let's go ahead, and I want to show you a couple things. I want to show you that there's a bunch of different ways you can add drums. And we're going to go to the drums slide, not the drummer, but the drum slide. And we're going to click on the one that says Smart Drums. Okay, so click on Smart Drums. And this is a very basic drum machine. Okay, very interesting how they presented it. As you can see here, we got a hip hop drum machine. You can click on it. Its icon here, and you have basically 6 different drum machines to work with. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and press drag. You can drag in different elements of the drum. So you can add a kick drum. And notice how up here it says loud, down here it says quiet, over here it says complex, and over here it says simple. I'm going to press it off. So this is on an axis that, you can figure out how complex or how loud you want your sounds to be. So let's say I want to turn it back on, and I'm going to make a cool complex shaker. And I want a pretty loud but simple snare. Okay, that's pretty good. So if I'm happy with it, I can record it. If I'm not happy with it and you want to try something different, there's this dice icon over here, and this is a randomizer, okay? So you can turn it on again, and you can press the dice. That's pretty nice, actually. I'm gonna add the shaker. All right, so say I like this, and I do like this. So I'm gonna go back to the beginning, and I wanna record this, okay? So I'm gonna press this big record button, all right? It's gonna count down to 4, and you're gonna see the recording traveling here along these 8 measures, these 8 bars of music, okay? So these are measurements of music, they're measurements of time in music, all right? You'll see it'll turn green in just a second here. Now you know it has been recorded when it's green, okay? So I'm gonna go back to something called my arranger, all right? Now, if you see the little square, big square, little square, this will take us back to our different tracks, but I'm gonna go back here. I want the one that looks like bricks, okay? So this one. Now, as you can see here, we have MIDI notes, okay? These are these little dots that are representing different notes of music. It's how your computer interprets music electronically, okay? So if we play it, you're gonna see each one of these little dots is represented as a MIDI note. All right, now, let's say I wanna add another track. But before that, it might be going a little bit too fast for me. Does anyone know what BPM is? Beats per minute? It is the speed of your track. It is the amount of tempo that is involved in your track, the speed of it. So if I want to change how fast it's going, I can go up here to the gear, which is the settings, and I can take the tempo down to around 90 or 95, let's say. Okay, that's more of a hip hop tempo. And we'll go into tempos a little bit later, okay? So let's hear it now. So now it sounds a little bit more hip hop. Okay, and now if we want to turn off our metronome, which keeps us on beat, if we're playing something, we can just click it right here. All right, so let's bring it back to the beginning. I am going to go back here. I want to go to that drummer slide, okay? Now, the drummer slide is a virtual drum machine, and they have different personalities. It's very interesting how they did it. I want to click on percussion because I want to add some percussion to this drum beat that I've got going on here. Let's click on percussion. And as you can see, you have different personalities. So we got Isabella here. Let's click on Isabella. You can see she has some different options as opposed to different people who play percussion. So she's the Latin percussionist. There's also a pop percussionist, a songwriter percussion, and these were the other categories of electronic, acoustic. You also have some hip hop drummers. I'm going to stick with Isabella because I like the Latin percussion. And she also has something called presets, which are preset rhythms. Okay, so let's click on that. By default, it's going to be Coconut Grove. She has a few other ones here. And she's got a few different things you can click on if you wanted different instruments or wanted less of a different instrument, of a different percussive instrument. Okay, so let's check it out. Let's hear what it sounds like with Isabella. We can add more what's called fills. Okay, a drum fill is when it's like a connective drum line. Okay, so you'll hear it, and I'll play some more fills in this percussive beat. Okay, so let's listen. So that was a fill. All right, now I want to see what some of these other ones are. I want to try maybe Little Havana. Let's try it. Okay, so I like this. This is cool. Turn up the fill a little bit. Just some other options here like swing, and we'll go into that a little bit later, but for this demonstration, we're not going to go into everything just yet. But let's go back here to our arranger. Now, as we can see, the MIDI region is green, the drummer track is yellow, and then there's also one other color that is represented in GarageBand. It is called, for an audio track, it is blue, okay? So check it out. We need a bass line here. Now there's a few different ways we could do that. We could add an audio track via a loop, and we'll talk a little bit more about what loops are later, but you can find them here in the icon that is conveniently a loop-de-loop. Let's click on this. Now you click on the kind of instrument right up here, and luckily we're already on bass. You can also click on the genre. I'm going to go to reggaeton pop. Actually, it unchecked it. I was already there. So let me go back and do reggaeton pop. Okay, and then you can preview your different bass lines here. Okay, so I think I'm going to go with this one. Just off the top of my head, it sounds like it could be good with this. Let's try it. So we drag it in. Notice how it's blue. And notice how if I use two fingers, I can zoom in on the audio waves. Everyone see those waves? Notice how these ones up here are the MIDI notes, and these ones down here are audio waves, okay? So let's listen to what it sounds like with the bass line. And now we have something pretty groovy, all right? For a melody line, we could also add, for the sake of time, we can add another loop if we wanted to. Let's see, maybe some horns. Let's try if they have any horns. They would be under woodwind. And let's listen to some... I like this saxophone. Let's give it a try. So now we have something quite groovy. Now, in terms of arranging this to make it into a full song, right now we only have 8 bars and everything is laid out along the full 8 bars. If we wanted to introduce the sax a little bit later, we could bring in, what we can do here is we can bring our playhead to the middle, to the end of the 4th bar, click on it, and hit split. All right, you drag the scissors down, and then you have 2 regions. All right, so I can just double click and delete this one. So it'll sound like a little bit more like this. So we will build up to the sax. All right. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this very brief demonstration of GarageBand. I look forward to seeing you in my class, and I'm looking forward to having a great time making some awesome music, awesome beats.